All right, Matt Gannon, Jers. We are once again back for a very special week, only once every 4 years. Unless a pandemic hits, then I think it's once every 5 years if a pandemic comes in. The Olympics, it's upon us. I hit Xander at the last Olympics. I've never lost a bet in the Olympics. 1-for-1, 100% success rate.
Make lap every pod.
Yeah.
We find them.
I'm almost disappointed that the Olympics are back because that's been 3.5, I think, years of being able to drink in that victory. That was Xander. He's your guy now, but at that time, he was my guy. We'll get to the Olympics. That's going to be the main. This won't be the longest pod. We're going to get dialed in on the Olympics mainly. I didn't watch too much of the golf last week. I was traveling. But how are you doing? How's your week? I know you had some guys in the mix there on both LIV and the PGA Tour for a while. At least you got a little bit of a sweat out of it, even though I don't know if they finished the job.
Yeah, it was definitely a fine week of golf. I was definitely had some sweats from Thursday through Sunday on both tours. They didn't fall my way this week, but I've been hot. I didn't know I was going to fall your way. But deserving winners on both tours, I would say. So yeah, it was a fine week of golf. I watched a decent bit of both tours, as well as the Senior Open, which we should touch on a tad. And so yeah, it was fine. I'm happy to be back in regular East. Actually, no. I was going to say we don't have to wake up early anymore because I was going to say I watched the Senior Open last week. This is going to be now a month of having to wake up early for golf because the two Scotlands, the Senior Open, and now I was so excited to catch up on sleep, which I have not done. And now I have to – it's summer. I guess I have to have no choice.
Got to keep persevering, but I think this should be the last
Is it
week.
better? I haven't looked at the times.
That's a good question. I would think that I would hope that they're teeing off a little bit later because it's only like 62 guys or something in the field. So we'll see. We don't know. Maybe somebody listening knows. Maybe somebody on Twitter. I'm sure we'll know soon enough.
Coming out sooner than later, the tee times. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a normal, tell me if I'm wrong, but this is just a normal Thursday through Sunday, 72 holes event.
No cut. Xander style. Yep.
Well, now I think it's Scottie style and Xander's the guy who wins real tournaments. So things can change quickly. We'll get into a quick recap of what took place this last week because if you're listening this into the heart of the summer, you're a ball knower. And as we say, this is a pod for the ball knowers. Like and subscribe to the pod if you're listening right now on YouTube and then obviously Spotify or Apple. We'd love if you could toss a quick 5-star review, maybe leave a comment on either of those. That always helps us out and we try our best to respond to all of those. As always, we've also got the site over at vincerix.com, $9.99 for the weekly, $34.99 for the monthly. And Jers, we didn't have a winner on the PGA Tour or the DP or on the LIV last week, but there was a winner in the Discord. Shout out to our guys in the Discord. Extended Wrists is his Discord.
He's sharp. He knows ball.
He knows ball. We talked tennis. I think I've talked tennis with him as well. This is a ball knower. He put together a hell of a LPGA preview last week. I'm looking at it right now, probably like 5 or 6
it's deep,
paragraphs.
Very in depth. You can't find a better LPGA preview on the internet. So if you want some LPGA stuff, this man Extended Wrists might have to get a salary soon because this is legitimate stuff. Stuff. I was impressed.
We might have to bring him onto the official Vincerix team here soon enough. But put together a card. Great ROI on the card, obviously, as well. Clean. I think it had to be more than 7x. I'm looking at it quickly here. He had Lauren Coughlin, both first-round leader and the winner, which we love to see. Like I said, I was traveling, so I wasn't even – I saw that she was first-round leader, and then I didn't even know she won till like last night, and then I went in the Discord, and I was like, this is beautiful. This is awesome to see. So shout out to the guys in the Discord and the ladies in the Discord, of course. But this week – we want a headline winner. We want to hit the Olympics. We want to be able to Vic Lap on Twitter, which we weren't able to do last week. We'll start with LIV. I think we need to start with LIV because you have famously, we got to talk about it. We don't shy away from the wins. We Vic Lap when we Vic Lap, but we also have to embrace when things go against us. And you had been on Rahm single bullet at least maybe half the LIV events this year, maybe 4 out of 10 or something.
It was 5 of 10. 5 of 10.
Okay, 5 of 10. And I was on him at the Open, and he obviously played well. We talked about it last week. He might have been on the wrong, like he got the worst draw of anybody in the draw.
And he played great.
actually was almost single bullet Bryson this week. Like that, I didn't even come that close to single bulleting wrong, almost because it made too much sense. I was like, it's so obvious. He just played well. He's rounding into form. He's sounding so confident. This is going to be the one that he wins. We didn't know a ton about the course. Obviously, I think most courses on Live are going to set up for Rahm. How did it feel? I know you also had Cam Smith, maybe some other guys in the mix, but was it devastation? Was it a can't lay every week until the Open situation? Or what's the
No, I never declared that I was gonna bet Rahm every single week, but I was like, I mean, clearly I bet him half the live events, and I wouldn't be as mad because we both have 3 live winners, and I wrote what could have been. What if I didn't bet Rahm every single week? Could I have had 6 winners in 10
right?
weeks? Probably not, but
And that was
still.
always the take that I would give to you. And you were like, I'm going to single bullet him. I was like, even if he does win, you're so good at
Yeah.
going down the board. Why not just do that, on a weekly
And
basis?
yeah, I had some guys in the mix. I had Cam Smith and Matt Wolf were around the 50 or the 36 hole lead, which was they had 18 holes to play. And you had Matt Wolf too, but he's just so gutless. But that's a different podcast.
Insanely gutless.
It's
On
no, I
I
hate
think it
I
was
hate Matt Wolf too.
yeah, I
It's
think
like
on
hole 17, hole 17.
yeah, he legitimately cold chunked it into the water.
That was
insane.
so short. So Rahm, yeah, I declared early in the week. I was like, all right, I've done the Rahm thing. I bet him half the events. I am no longer chasing this Rahm win. And I wrote, it's probably gonna happen this week. I'm off him now, and it's because I bet him 4 straight weeks, and he lost. He won, obviously. I was not on it. I did not hit any live winners, but like it happens. I figured it was coming. That and Owen Ferguson within 3 weeks hurt a little bit, but like I said, I'm not due anything. I've had a blessed year in golf betting, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's the proper assessment of. I also had Paul Casey, who got within one
And he
of
went
the
OB,
lead.
right? I missed that
Yeah.
shot.
So I was traveling, like I would check the scores, I would watch for a second, then I was doing other stuff, and like he made birdie, I think, on 14 to get within one of the lead. He was minus 13, which ended up, I think, being the winning score. So like going to 15, he was on the winning score. And then I turned it off. I turned it back on like 15 minutes later, and they've got the rules bunker. They've got that guy that they pop up when like shit is going, when they
Yeah,
need the
like
rules
in his
official.
little hut. Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw
I
him,
love Liv
and
so
I
much.
saw Casey in the deep rough, and I was like, this doesn't look good. And then I saw they were bringing the string out, and I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Posty situation.
And it was a posty Barbasol situation, and it was internal OB. Apparently, he like the holes ran parallel to each other, and they had set up OB so the guys wouldn't intentionally aim to the other fairway, and he
Right.
missed it so far right that it went internal OB, and then he was
That's
cooked
such
after
a
that.
shame. That's such a shame. Yeah, I mean, I love Liv. Like that rules bunker is so funny. And I think the Liv line is the greatest piece of
Okay,
technology in
it's
like the
good.
21st century. It is so sharp. It is
Yeah,
so sharp.
I've never seen a guy off the live line who ends up like I have seen a few where they're on the live line and it misses, but I've never
Yeah.
seen a guy off the live line where it actually ends up going
Sometimes they'll be like they'll start low with the live line, but they'll hit it hard enough where it gets back
in.
on the live line and it goes in. So, whoever invented the live line, we should talk because I want to pick your brain because that's just some super technology.
I almost tweeted it, but like I just don't want to fight the live people because we are live guys. But no matter
Yeah.
even if you're a live guy and you give constructive criticism, you're instantly like out. The broadcast yesterday, especially as somebody who had Casey, who was legitimately right in the mix pretty much the entire back nine, like he was within a shot or two the entire time. The coverage was horrific. The coverage was worse. My official ranking right now, and I know somebody's going to be like, "Oh, they've got the watch every shot feature." Like, I couldn't really figure it out, and if I
It
can't
is tough
figure it
to
out,
use.
if I can't figure it out, the everyday person's not going to figure it out because we're into golf. We follow all the apps and stuff. And it's mainly the replays. And it's like, what good does that do me? I want to watch live with what happens. And my official rankings right now of coverage, like if it's going to be a final round and I've got a guy in the mix and this is the coverage that I want, CBS actually is number one for me right now.
Yeah.
Like it's great. The CBS, you're not missing any of the key stuff. Then I'll go live, and then it's like a massive drop off to NBC and Golf Channel. But for the tour that hypes themselves up as like new, the coverage is going to be amazing. It's like, come on, what are we doing out here?
And also, shout out again, Extended Wrist. He's in the Discord right now talking about LPGA. So just if you're gonna watch this in a few hours, Extended Wrist, you're just a grinder. So we appreciate you.
But yeah, so that's live. Shout out. I know a lot of people were just on the Rahm single bullet because it was like
Easy, yeah, obvious.
Yeah, it was kind of straightforward. That hadn't worked all year on Live though, which I think is your point. Like the straightforward thing, maybe Abe Answer in Hong Kong, because I was like so positional where that like just kind of made sense. But this was the first time where like the obvious single bullet strategy even really came close to working. So I really think, and especially like
I mean, except for Los and Ortiz, that was the most obvious bet of the year. I mean, you play Los and Ortiz in Houston. Sorry,
but at least that was still like 20 something. And Sergio, I guess that Valderrama, but those were still at least where you could build a card to like have those guys on it. This was the first single bullet of the year, and I think in general, like I've got those 3 winners on Live. Paul Casey now has been in it twice and almost won. Like building a normal card on Live and just betting it like you would a normal tournament, it works, and it gives you a guy in the mix, and it's entertaining to watch. Besides, like I said, the coverage. We're Live guys. I support Live, and I love having a guy in the mix on Live. Like it feels the same to me now as it does any other tour.
Yeah, so it was a fun week, fun sweats of golf. I had
what did you think of the what did you think about the course that Liv was playing? Because it was like super hyped before the tournament. People were saying that it's like one of the best courses built in England in like 100 years and all this stuff. And it seemed pretty sick. I think they set it up obviously like on the easier side, which they do for Liv, but that was a true modern golf course that kind of asked a lot of questions, but it wasn't too biased, I don't think, to any specific skill set.
No, there was like I would say 75% of the drives were fairly easy, but the 25% that were harder drives were so hard. Like if you missed in the wrong spot, you were just boned. And there was so many blind. It was True-esque on like 11 and 12 or 10 and 11. Sorry, there was so many blind tee shots on the back 9. There was 2 or 3 of them, and some of the greens were massive, but like with absurd slopes. And if you hit your spots, you can score. Like anytime you get into 13 under or 12 under in 3 rounds, like it's still a fairly scoreable golf course, but there was guys over par. So if you weren't hitting your spots, you were getting fucked. I like that course. I hope they go back there again.
Yeah, and I think what I like too, I texted about it, and it's kind of just what you said. It was a course where double bogey was in like the leaders. It was very volatile. Rahm had the lead after the first round, and then he completely lost it and was out of it. Ogletree got ahead. Cam Smith was ahead for a little bit on Saturday, but the double bogey was always in play. It was a course where you could make 5, 6, 7 birdies in a round, but you could also give it up instantly. And for me, that's the exact
it was a fun golf course. One of the best golf courses I think Liv has played in these 3 years or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. And the crowds were good, so shout out to Liv. They keep moving forward on the course and atmosphere front. And then on the PGA Tour is the 3M. We talked about it last week. I think it's one of the most random tournaments of the year. I think there's things that make sense about it, but figuring out who's going to pop with the putter and things like that, it's a very random course. Johnny Vegas made sense. I think he was 9th in the model over on.
I was going to say huge week for the model. He was 9th in yours, 7th in mine. Made a ton of sense. I mean, anytime you're getting a top 10 guy in the model at 90, 100 to 1, it's 80 to 1 who's winning the golf tournament. Like he did make sense. He made sense.
Yeah,
and I couldn't get there.
I couldn't get there. And I wrote up on the event preview. I said, this is Clanton's profile, but you get him at like triple the odds, because Clanton was they had a very similar like ball striking threshold where they weren't great around the greens and they weren't great putters, but sometimes they were. Like it looked like Clanton, but it's like he was triple the price and he's a multi-time winner on the PGA Tour. Obviously, Clanton missed the cut, I do believe, but I think for me, it was like, yeah, he makes sense. And I've bet Johnny Vegas a million times in the past, maybe like 2-3 years ago, but I haven't so much recently now that he's come back from injury. But he's always been a guy that makes sense at like so many of the ball striking golf
big courses,
type of guys, but he never wins. He would always, something would go wrong. I just think
it almost did. It almost did.
Yeah. I was
just didn't really watch much, but yeah.
I was just surprised that he actually won. Like, I don't know how else to describe it.
No,
Johnny Vegas actually winning again on the PGA Tour. It's kind of insane to me, actually.
And what the reason that I got off of him, well, not that I was going to bet him, but the reason I didn't bet him was because it never happens. We've had this conversation before, that a golfer who makes sense wins at a golf course that they finished runner-up in their last start at. It happened with Nick Taylor at Phoenix, and that was really it in the last 3 to 4 years. Whereas, like, I mean, obviously, like a top guy can go runner up, but like a random 100 to 1 shot finishing run, like Johnny Vegas finished runner up with the 3M in his last start in 2021. For him to just win in his next start, like, he finished runner up. It makes a ton of sense. They don't that golfer never wins.
Yeah, that never happens, especially at a course as volatile as like the 3M, where there's water and there's all sorts of stuff in play. We saw that you had Pendy, right?
I had Pendy, yeah.
And
So
he
I thought it
like
was smooth sailing.
Saturday, he looked like he was running away with it, and then I opened the app.
Or Friday,
like 5 holes.
No.
It was Saturday. He got off to a great start, and then like
Oh,
he
yes.
completely
Ejected
imploded, which is what can happen
on 10-11,
on that course, and why that course is kind of sick because we saw guys. Grazerman obviously had that great final round. I had Fishburne, who on Saturday had a great round to like jump up
You
into
had
the
Patty
mix.
Fish?
I had Patty Fish, and he played well. Shout out Patty Fish, but I don't like it as a tournament. Like straight up, I don't like to bet it. It's not a fun one to watch, but
Yeah, it's tough.
it does. It's always anybody's game at the 3M, which is kind of sick.
Did you see Vegas's shot into 18?
I did. He like pulled it a little left, and then he
I
had like
thought that
100
was
putt.
wet. I thought that was wet because Sahith, I had Sahith too, and he needed to eagle to tie the lead, and he just he played he played as Sahith as you could. There was a lot of great moments, a lot of horrible moments. Like he missed multiple 4-foot putts. Like
He's
during the week.
I think we officially, and I don't like to do this. I've been close to saying this most of the year because Teagues is my guy. I love Teagues. He's gotten zero dog. Teagues has no dog.
He didn't make a charge on Sunday. Like he
never does. He never his final rounds when he's in the mix, like it never works out.
Like he got lucky to even have a shot on 18 because like no one above him did anything, but he shouldn't have had a shot on 18 to make it eagle to tie the lead. Obviously, it wouldn't have worked because he would have lost if he made a 3. But still, like he did not do anything. He missed a 4-footer on 10, missed a 7-footer on the front 9 too. Just didn't do anything. Made a few sloppy bogeys on 8, 9 because he got off to a fine start. He was 2 under and he was there.
Yeah.
And
so did Patty Fish. Both Teagues and Fish got off to a good start, and then again, I was at lunch and I opened the app and they were both like out of it by the time they got to down the stretch. But what I wanted to say about Vegas was, and I think we've talked about this before, I've written about it in like opposite field events. These guys, and Kuchar obviously was up there too, like these guys who have just been on the tour forever. They've been on the PGA Tour for 10, 15 years. They're so good. Like, I don't know how else to describe. Like, we forget about these guys because we always are like, who's coming up from the Corn Ferry? Like, who are these new guys coming on the tour? And most of those guys go off. They are back down to the KFT after the first year, or they go to the tour for a couple years and they kind of fall off. Like these guys who, Vegas now has a few wins on tour. Obviously, Kuchar's won a reasonable amount of times. They're not major champions. They're not winning big events. But I think
the fact that they're still on tour and playing,
we underappreciate like.
And there's not a lot of them. There's like a handful of like, it's so impressive. And Vegas didn't play for like what, a year and a half. He was back winning. Like, Godspeed, Johnny V. He should be in the Olympics.
Yeah, he should be. But yeah, it just speaks to that. Like, it's a different tier of golf. That longevity and that ability to just year after year after year after year after year keep being on the tour. It's impressive. And so shout out to Johnny Vegas. I was happy for him. He's always seemed like a very affable guy, fun. He like his celebration was cool. He was very I like his interview.
What a putt on 18. What a putt.
Yeah, 100 feet, just like leg it up there to like 3 feet range. Comfy 4 at the last. So shout out Johnny Vegas. I'm not going to shout out 3M. Like I said, I had texted before the week. Why the entire tour goes over to the UK to play Scotland, and obviously the lower level guys don't, but they play Scotland. They play the Open. Why do we need to come back and play the 3M? Why couldn't we have like a 3M level field? Maybe a little. It would be a little bit better at the top because I'm sure some of the top guys would stick around. Why not play like another joint DP PGA Tour? But there was no DP event last week. That makes no sense. The one time the entire year that all of the players are in DP like land, and the DP goes,
Gales
we're not going to have.
Gales would have been beautiful. They would have had to sell like 1,000 tickets max, but Gales would have been a great venue.
But yeah, so I think we're happy to take over the scheduling on the DP if they want to call us up.
Yeah, we will not be accepting a sponsorship offer from 3M if it was presented. So, we'll move on from that tournament.
Let's get to the Olympics. Le Golf National, home of the French Open, home of the Ryder Cup. Always a fun event on the DP.
Memories.
Yeah, we infamously, when I type French Open on Google, I get the French Open tennis, which is also sick, and they're also playing the tennis Olympics on the French Open courts. So,
any early leans, or you haven't dug deep into it yet?
I think they've already played the first round, but that's fine in tennis. Like, you can still get your outrights in after the first round because it's not going to change that much. Carlos is going to be pretty tough to beat on the clay. Like, he's been fucking on everything, but in the clay is his thing. But Novak's been
And
playing
he's going to
better.
be the
So
1 seed.
yeah, I think he's like Sinner was the 1 seed, but I think he's out. So it's probably
He's
shaping up to
out?
be.
Why is he out?
He got hurt. I don't know what happened. He gets hurt like a surprising amount. He's always out.
That's
So
what you were saying, yeah. But he because he's really skinny, right?
yeah, I think he and also like the Olympics are kind of like the golf Olympics in tennis, where you want to win it, but a lot of guys don't care that much. Like, it doesn't matter to them.
It's
But I
not
think
like yeah.
that actually leads into this Olympics for golf. The last 2 times there's been the Olympics for golf, not a lot of guys wanted to play. Like in Brazil, there was the Zika virus or whatever, but I think they
Right.
were using Zika virus as like an excuse that nobody cared about the Olympics. And then obviously there was the COVID situation at the last Olympics, which made it kind of weird. This Olympics, all the guys are playing. Like,
Yeah,
I have
guys seem pretty passionate about it too.
yeah, and I'm excited about that. I think that's sick.
Yeah. I mean, Paris is awesome. The course is awesome, which we'll get into the course. And I mean, I'm excited. How can we not be excited? I'm not excited to wake up in the morning, but I'm excited to watch the Olympics and hopefully cash some bets.
And also, the winners are Rose and Xander.
And Xander.
Rose, a major champion. We just saw the amount of dog that he has. So we talked about it last week. Like, he's high on the dog rankings. Xander now is a 2-time major champion. So until proven otherwise, and obviously it's only been 2 Olympics, how do you, I guess the question of that is, how do you think about now? And I think for me, it's changed because Xander's now won a couple of majors. I maybe would have said something different if this was beginning of the year. How do you think about what it will mean for whoever wins a gold medal this week? Like, where does that?
Yeah, I mean,
something
something you can only get on Vincerix.com is the model tab strokes gained pride and country. We will have that in our rankings, which you can't get on any other site. So that's going to be a huge asset to who will win this week. But wait, you're saying, like, how do you think it will fare to win a gold medal?
Like, let's say Rory wins this week. Let's say he gets a gold medal. He hasn't won a major in 1,000 years. What, like, just how would you assess what that means?
Not bad for your career. You have 1 chance to win a gold medal. Like, Tony had a great week last week. Him not cracking the top 20, great for his career, or not cracking the top 10, great for his career. Like, a gold medal is coveted. Like, if you're in the Olympics, you're there to win. You're there to win. And I don't think we can shy away from, if Scottie or Rory win a gold medal, we can't be like, oh, then do it in a major. They just got a gold medal. Like, I know it's like a limited field, but like it's what's presented. And then what happens in the future happens. But I don't think this is a bad for your career.
Oh no, I think
tournament.
Like, I'll always, like I said last week, that a FedEx Cup would be bad for Scottie's career. Like, I think he should.
Right, people listening to this right now are going to be like, "What is this kid saying?" They don't know.
The regular ball listeners will know the inside joke on bad for your career. But like last week, I said that Scottie should skip the rest of the year. I forgot about the Olympics. I didn't want him to skip the Olympics. I was only talking about the PGA Tour specifically.
Right. No, I got
you.
Like,
I don't want him to win the FedEx Cup. I think that would be bad for his career. I think it would put too much pressure on needing to do better in the majors next year. But I'm really starting to think, and maybe I'm just hyping it up because I want to like extra care this week because it's like one of the last big tournaments of the year. I think a gold medal legitimately means something now. And I think why it also is important to appreciate it now is that, let's say in 20 years, the gold medal is like, everybody's like, this is one of the most important things in golf. And that could be, who knows? Who knows how it's thought about in 20 years? But if it is, that will mean this was really important. We just didn't necessarily realize it at the time, type of thing. Like, it takes time for tradition and things to build up over time. So I'm treating this not to major level, actually maybe to PGA level. Winning the gold medal this year will be more important to me, or mean more to me, than Xander's win at Valhalla. That's my official take.
This is a perfect lead into the next statement. I think this week, if one of the 2 favorites win, is the real. We'll give him that player of the year. If Scottie gets it, he gets it. Because 6 wins, obviously no majors, or 6 wins and a Masters versus 2 majors for Xander. I think it's Scottie, but there's a real argument for both. It really is. But I think maybe even whoever finishes higher, maybe who gets in contention, maybe finishes runner-up or medals, and the other one doesn't, could set them apart, even like without even the FedEx Cup in the balance. I think this is a massive week for that because you'll only get it once a year, and I'm sure the PGA Tour committee will use this week as a parameter for that award.
And I think too, We were talking about the career Grand Slam last week, which is obviously interesting. And there's many of those guys we were talking about are in this field this week. Scottie, Xander, Rory, Rahm, Colin, all guys who should be in the mix for the career Grand Slam in their career. This is like the career Grand Slam plus. Obviously, Xander already has the gold medal, but like if you, that could be long term when we talk about these guys in the future, like the ultimate differentiator. So I'm excited, to be honest. And back to the course, like I said, it's hosted the French Open for forever. Basically hosted the Ryder Cup. Many people will remember it for the Ryder Cup. That'll be like the average golf fan will remember this as the Ryder Cup course. As far as I can tell, and as far as it usually plays in the French Open, it's going to be a little bit different than it was during the Ryder Cup. The Europeans smartly grew the rough up and turned it into like a mega positional golf course. And it's really not. Like it is, but it isn't. The rough is down as far as I've heard. There's still plenty of water. It's kind of like a Florida course in the sense that water awaits the penalty strokes basically await you on many different holes and especially down the stretch. But it's actually tended to have a little bit more of a distance bias, in my opinion, in the French Open events than we would think about it from that very positional Ryder Cup. Is that kind of how you're thinking about it as well?
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that I would say would make it a little bit more positional than it has in years past of the French Open. I know that the French Open has been playing in the summer, but old French Opens were played in the fall, and I think it's going to be fairly baked out and firmer. So I think the fairway.
Scottie said he was surprised it wasn't baked out.
Okay,
so
all right.
It sounded like it might have been a little wet, actually. Yeah,
that's great to hear then, because if it was normal summer, I think that it should be the fairway should play narrower. We will see how. I mean, that means I'm sharp because Scottie was thinking the same thing going into the week too. So we will see how it plays out. But if I'm gonna lean with accuracy and position over just straight bomb and gouge, because there's obviously danger awaits, and I think anytime you're getting a golf course where Rio and Jordan Smith are in the final group, like you got to hit your spots. But more than anything, precision iron play is my key to success around this golf course.
Yeah, and let me pull it up here. I went through the last. We don't have strokes gained for all of the French Opens, but we've got like the last 5 years, I think, of French Opens, and I kind of looked at what their strokes gained were. The last 4, what their strokes gained were in the tournament, and then kind of what their strokes gained look like coming in. The same stuff, obviously, the same data that we would have up for a PGA Tour event on the site than usually what I use, to kind of think through the course. It's interesting because during the week, the in-tournament winning stat lines is spike approach, spike putting. Like the average across the 4 guys on approach is a 6.5 on approach, and the average across the 4 on putting is 4.5, and then it's 0 arg and like 1.2 off the tee. So, and on the distance and accuracy stats, they're very random. Like some guys bombed it, some guys went positional, but it was just
definitely a path for both. I agree.
Yeah. But what was interesting coming into the tournament, and now this is also DP stats, so like take them with a tiny bit of a grain of salt. Most of the profiles were kind of driver putter guys. Almost everybody was gating off the tee. Everybody except Noren was super negative approach and around the greens. And then the only thing they all had in common was putting. They were all positive putters. And so it does remind me a little bit of the 3M and what we talked about last week. And I do think that actually makes this week a little trickier. And I do think it may lead more guys to be in the mix than we might think with such a top heavy field and a limited field size. Is you need to drive it somewhat well to set yourself up. But then the spike approach aspect, because they're so almost, like I said, Florida style approaches where there's water, there's hazards. There's some guys who maybe aren't normally good approach guys, but like Guido, when he just gets dialed, he doesn't give a fuck. And same with Rio. Like he wasn't a great iron player, but he was a fearless, no fucks iron player. So I don't know how to quantify that, but that's almost what I'm looking for. And then a guy who can putt, drive it. Do you have the dog on approach? And are you a good putter? I think that's how.
Sounds like Keita Nakajima to me. I feel like that's the perfect comp.
It actually
for that post.
Yeah,
actually, he's in the field. Yeah, he is.
All right, let's get to the field. Scottie up top. He's drifted to plus 425 on Bet Online.
Continues to drift.
I'll let you go first because I think we have differing takes on Scottie this week. You're high on him. You think he's going to be tough to beat. You're tempted by these plus 400-ish numbers. Tell me why.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are listeners of the show, we're honest on Scottie and we give our takes if we think he has no chance or think he's in the mix. We both thought he'd play really well last week, and or not last week at Troon, and he played well, but he probably finished outside our parameter of like we finished T6. So maybe wrong about that, but he still played well. I do think he is going to be on the podium. I do think he will probably win this week, and I think that because of the golf course. I think it's my comp here is TPC Sawgrass. It's just like pretty basic, straightforward comp for a regular PGA Tour fan. Not exactly the same, but TPC Sawgrass. You can be long and straight. You can be accurate. Spike iron plays really huge. Get a little hot with the putter. Avoid the water. Sounds a lot like Le Golf National. Sounds a lot like TPC Sawgrass, the golf course that Scottie Scheffler plays so well on. And I've been in the camp that I don't love Scottie on at Sawgrass over the last 2-3 years, but I've just been proven to be wrong about that. He loves it there. He just hits his spots hole after hole, and it's freaking Scottie Scheffler. He is A1 positional bomber, a nickname that we've coined for Scottie Scheffler. And I think that will play tremendously well here. You're getting 4-1 is great value in this field because I'm looking at it as Scottie has to beat 5 to 7 guys. Really? He's got to beat 5 to 7 guys because the rest of the field drops off in a major way. Now I will say, as the sustainable ROI better that I am, I cannot bet Scottie Scheffler at 4-1. I'm already looking in without Scheffler markets. I really am because I really do think that he's going to be a massive part of this week. But I will say early on, I think Scottie Scheffler is winning a gold medal.
All right. I think that's very fair take, and I'm glad that you're...
I want some pushback.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. I was just going to say, I thought you were going to say you're considering betting the 4-1, but you're not actually considering betting it.
I think my buy number was 5.5.
Okay.
Because like that's still a lot to go because you know how we are. We have to stay.
No, especially and so like, all right, let me give you the flip
4's
side
low though.
Why I think I'll probably agree with the take. He'll be on the podium, but I'm not like that afraid of him winning the tournament as maybe I have been in different tournaments this year. Now,
okay, let's hear it.
I'm not gonna I think I've never been wrong when I said Scottie has no chance. He's never won any of those tournaments. I'm not that confident. I thought about being that confident on the no chance, but I'm not going to quite go there. But what I am going to say is he's going to gain infinity ball striking at this course, which is the point that you're just making. I don't think there's any question whatsoever that his driving and approach is tailor-made for this type of venue. But when I see, again, I've got 4 winning stat lines here from the years that we have data on the guys. Rio gained 1.4 per round putting, Guido 1.3, Colsaerts 0.8, and Noren 1.0. So the worst putter in tournament of a winner that we have data for was Colsaerts, and he gained 3.2. Scottie has very rarely come close to those types of numbers this year. He's only broken +1 per round, so +4 putting basically in one tournament. And that was Bay Hill, where he loves those greens. He's super confident on them. The other one was Schwab, another course he's very familiar with and has played a lot. When I see a venue where so far at least, and obviously Scottie hasn't played this course, maybe Scottie redefines like the stat line that you need to win here. I would not be surprised by that at all. And that's why I'm not going to say he has no chance this week, because I could see him just introducing a new way of dominating at this course. When I get to these events and I see guys who have to gain at least 4 strokes putting to win, that to me opens the door to a lot more guys. And especially with Scottie's history of he doesn't tend to putt well the very first time that he goes to, not that this is his first time because he played the French Open here, but he tends to only putt well. No, I'm saying he hasn't played a tournament here. So he played the Ryder Cup here, but we don't know how he didn't.
Scottie didn't play the Ryder Cup. 2018, no.
Oh, fuck. All right, well then double down.
That was way long ago.
All right, I forgot about that. Then double down on my take. Scottie's got no chance this week because my take was going to be he only putts well when he has experience putting on the greens that he's putting on. And since
Scottie's first Ryder Cup was Whistling Straits.
Yeah, right? no, you're 100% right. For some reason, it was blending together in my mind. But okay, then with that being said, I'm going to double down on my take, and I'm going to say the putter stops Scottie from winning this week. That's my take.
Fair. Okay. I mean, I'm happy that you have that take because you're always honest. You could have very, very easily thought that, yeah, this is a Scottie week. We know it's a Scottie week. Because like I said, I can't bet that 4-1. Like just in my morals, it's not right. If I had to make one bet for someone who would win, it would be Scottie Scheffler. But we're gonna go further down the board. We're gonna find some value somewhere else. Hopefully, So we will see come Wednesday afternoon.
That quickly reminds me on going to the top of the board and betting, guys. We did say generational wealth opportunity on Patty
How's your
Harrington
top
last
five?
week at the Senior Open. It didn't work out. Disappointing performance from Patty. I said he may.
We said how's your top five, Gen Wealth.
Okay.
And that
Did
hit.
he? Did that
So,
hit?
people in the group chat were the Discord were
Okay.
said
Good.
thank you for that.
Because I only bet him outright, and it didn't work,
Same.
obviously. But I said that he may need to return at least one of his opens for not being able to get the job done last week.
Yeah, he didn't really play great. I mean, he finished top 5, but I watched a lot of it. He was not doing I think he played better at Shroom than he did at Carnoustie, and the conditions weren't insane. There was scores out there. Troy was on a different level. He looked like he was playing in a dome out there. So shout out KJ, first major of his career. But Patty, not enough.
Back to the Olympics here. Xander's your guy. I'm not even going to give a take on Xander because you basically for at least the next year, you tell me what to do with Xander. At the end of the day, when a guy's somebody's guy, you just listen to them. What do you expect from him this week?
This feels like as much pressure for Xander than comparably to his first trip to Torrey Pines. Off of an Olympic win, off of the Open win. Infinite amount of pressure. If Xander beats us, we will clap as much as possible, but we cannot bet him at this number with this pressure. But truly, this feels like.
Do you think he has pressure though? Because what if he's just like, I already won a gold medal. I've got 2 majors. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, he might have that mindset, but I believe he's got pressure. Like he's going to do a ton of media, more than normal. Defending a gold medalist, you got to do stuff with the Olympic Federation. You got to do stuff with more with the whole world.
He didn't go to the opening ceremony, did he? It was just Colin and Wyndy, right? Because I don't think Scottie was there.
Yeah,
or at least so. I just saw pictures of them.
I'm not really sure, but I mean, I assume that Xander's gonna have a ton of pressure, being the defending champ, being the Open champ. I mean, he's playing amazing golf, and
like I said, I don't think he's gonna beat us. I can't introduce that take and then question you, so I'm not going to. But I will say I could see him also not giving a fuck because
fair, no, fair.
Does it? But we'll see. And I think obviously he was number 1 in the model this week. If you took out all of the vibes, which you can't, you got to have the vibes part of the story, and you're the Xander guy because you know his vibes. Statistically, obviously, when we just talked about ball striking and putting, we talked about it a million times. That's Xander Schauffele. He should play great here. Rory and Rahm are next in the odds. They're just a step in front of Colin, so we'll save him for just in a second. They're both about 10, 11 to 1 on Rory and Rahm. Rahm obviously coming off of the win. Both guys who have played this course in competition. Rory's history here, I mean, we're going way back. He only played in 2016 and 2010, but he finished 3rd and 4th here. And Rahm has played twice. He's finished T10 and T5. Any interest in either of these guys who, of the top guys, have the most experience playing this venue?
I prefer Rory because I think everyone feels like it's a Rahm layup week off the live win, off the nice Troon. And I'm not faulting Rory. I mean, it's tough to say this, but I'm not faulting Rory too much for his effort at Royal Troon. He was in that bad wave, but you're still Rory McIlroy. Make the cut. I think they're just going to forget about him. Oh, Rahm's the shiny new tour. Rahm just won on live. Let's get this Rahm outright. Not that I think I'm endorsing a Rory plus 900 wager, but I think if I'm picking between the two in a matchup, I'm going to go with Rory because he has although I think there's going to be times where this golf course negates the driving distance and the total driver aspect because it will on certain holes. I still trust him to play well, club down, hit irons, first round leader at Sawgrass. He can play on any style of course. I'm going to go with Rory in this question.
I agree with you. I think the Rahm thing, he was about 16 to 1 actually when I first looked at these Olympic odds a couple weeks ago before his win last week. So I don't think you're going to get a number now on him. And I also just don't think he won Live UK barely. He almost blew it by missing a very short putt on 17. Almost lost a hat. I don't think he's playing quite as good as maybe it seems. Right. He's obviously playing well.
Still stupid.
Yeah, still he played the par 5s terribly. I'm convinced Adam Hayes is a bad caddy. I really don't like him now. And what I wanted to ask about, so my take on Rahm is that I agree with you. I think it's not going to work. It's too obvious. He's mispriced versus where he has been priced in these events up until
He didn't
literally
birdie a
today.
single par 5 at Troon, and he didn't birdie a single par 5 on the first day of Live UK. Because they were on the broadcast. They were like, "That's Rahm's first birdie since Valderrama on a par 5." I was like, "What? Like, how? You're John freaking Rahm."
My concern with Rory, I still like. I'll take him in the matchup with you over Rahm. He hasn't gained over 4 on approach since Wells Fargo. His
Yeah, I
approach
don't
is
think
like,
it's like a. I don't think he's gonna win, but I would take him over
yeah.
Rahm.
I just think, yeah, his approach is getting progressively worse, which is concerning to me because at
Which
the
is
beginning of the year it
intriguing
was
in that
pretty bad
sense.
too. So
Yeah, he goes on like month runs.
I think so far, and this is my first time kind of thinking through the field. Obviously, I made the model earlier that's up on the site, but I think I can pass these first 4 guys. The guy I have had in my head as the winner of the Olympics for months is Colin Morikawa. And he
Agree.
is 12-1 this week, the same price. Actually, let's talk about him by himself because I'm going to hype him up pretty well here. And I'm not committing right this second to bet a 12-1 guy. Like, I really need to think through that and make sure I'm committed to it. But everything that this golf course calls for, Colin Morikawa does, and he's been putting amazing this year. He's been knocking on the door of getting a victory. He hasn't got it yet. We know he's got dog. I think he loves America.
And we know he cares. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
I think he loves America as much as anybody in this field. Like, Colin would love to be an Olympic champion. I really have liked Colin for a while, and I think the number is totally fair because he's been 12-1 in normal events so far, like normal PGA Tour events. And obviously, like you've said, this drops off. So I really like Colin. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, look at Colin. He's the most American-looking guy on tour. He's ready to represent his country. But what I was going to say with Colin, like he's never played here before either, and I could see Colin playing this golf tournament and him saying, "This is my favorite course I've ever played." Like it suits his game to a T. So Colin makes so much sense. I'm not saying yes or no. If I'm going to bet him or not, but he makes a ton of sense. This is a perfect spot for him to pay off that great year he's been having, and yeah, what else am I gonna say? It makes so much sense. It's Colin. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like he's been playing just as good as any of these guys. I don't think he's a step below.
A few putts, a few shots away. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, so I'll have my eyes on Colin for sure, and I've had my eyes on him. Like I've just had in my head ever since he like started playing way better, but he couldn't quite get over the line in some of these tournaments, and I just kept thinking about Le Golf National and his game, and I was like, give me Colin.
I mean, he's always so popular at golf courses like Sawgrass, like Harbortown, ask you very similar questions.
Yep. Ludwig is the only other guy below 20-1. I don't hate it, but
no,
I don't
you
love
play
it.
Ludwig on positional golf courses that you have to point and shoot and get hot with the irons at the ball high. That's where you play Ludwig. I like it. What's his number? Like 12, 14, 13?
There's 14s, yeah. So, I mean, what's your take on this? Would you be willing because, and I've actually wondered this most of the year with Scottie's odds being what they are, because I think when we invented the 7 to 8x, or you invented it, I can't remember where it came from.
I definitely did not invent it.
We've been doing it forever. A lot of that was kind of based on the fact that the favorite of the tournament tends to be around 7 to 8-1. Now we're at the Olympics. Scottie's 4-1. Let's say you wanted to bet Colin and Ludwig, because I think that'd be a nice card to put together, but that probably puts you in the 5x, 5.5x range. Because it's the Olympics, because it's a weird field, because it's weird numbers, would you be willing to do something like that?
If I'm not going to go down to Scottie, then probably not. Like, I'm just going to stay true to my guns. And I mean, at the end of the day, the numbers are what they are for a reason. There's less guys in the field. A lot less guys can even win. And I mean, I would say 30% of the field can actually win. So I think it's fine. The numbers are fine. I'm not going to go below my numbers. I mean, maybe I'll get this 6-8, but I'm not going to get anything crazy.
3 guys in the 20s: Joaco, Tommy Ladd, and Shane. Tommy Ladd, I do believe, is a former winner of this event.
Yeah, 26. And he fucked at the Ryder Cup.
He's also, this is insane, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 appearances for Tommy at the French Open, 5 missed cuts and a win.
Sounds like Guido. But I think the best guy in this range is Joaco. I want to hear your favorite guy in this range too, because Joaco was truly 2 swings away from firmly mixing at the Open. Firmly mixing. And he played really well at Live UK last week. And his when he's playing well, his game transfers to any kind of golf course. So I'm down for some Joaco. Shane makes so much sense too. Anytime you get Shane on a positional golf course in good form, hell yeah. But I don't want Shane in the 20s. I just don't. I'm not going to be part of
Who?
that.
My thing about these three is I think in their own ways they all totally make sense, like statistically and how they play their game. Once we get into this outside of the top guys, and maybe I should be thinking about this for the top guys as well, is who wants to win the Olympics? Who wants to have a gold medal and represent their nation?
Shane.
That's what I started to think when I thought, like, I agree Jocko probably is the best number here, taking this not being the Olympics out of the equation. But I just think Shane, after what happened to the Open too, is just going to be hungry, and he's 28-1, which I don't think is terrible for.
Imagine like Joaco wins and like Chile represents the world of golf for the next 4 years. Like that's what people say.
Right, but that almost doesn't make sense, and I almost can't bet Jocko because of how like odd of a situation that would be. In the 30s, we've got Vic, Tom, Noren, and Connors.
What, 30?
On who? Who's surprising
Vic
you?
Is 30?
35 on Vic.
What? If we had any strong feelings about Victor at Troon, why would we hold back? Because he was in that, he got eviscerated by the weather. Eviscerated. And this golf course still makes so much sense for Vic. This is a perfect golf course for Prime Vic. As was Troon.
35 on Vic is...
That's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
I'm not. I would go back to him in a heartbeat because, like we said, we can say whatever the hell we want about Troon. I freaking hit the winner, and the weather wiped out half the guys.
Yeah. If they didn't play well, you just blame the weather, and it was the links. Like if it got in general, if you don't want to care about it, you don't have to. But if you do want to care about it, you can. That's a great thing about the links.
Deki in a few minutes.
And Vic, yeah. He wants to win the Olympics. Vic wants to represent the Nordic countries. And
imagine the Viking Cup after. Like this would be huge for the Cup. If you win an Olympic gold medal, imagine if we get 3 Nordic guys on the podium. We would probably end the pod.
I'm gonna bet that. I'm gonna bet who it's Vic, Nikolai, and Thor. A triumphant on an all Danish top of the.
Dude, it's a shame that it's not Nikolai and Rasmus. That would have been so sweet. Don't be scared of Sammy V. He's an easy course merchant.
Which of these guys that are PGA Tour? Actually, this is an interesting number. Deki 40.
I was just gonna say wait for Deki. I'm gonna say throw out the links form. Like, does links golf scream Hideki Matsuyama?
No, the only thing that he gained in every tee to green category, he just lost a shit ton putting.
Hideki was my early click on the board. If I like had to make a click, I didn't bet anything yet, but I was like Hideki at 35 plus. Like, why not? This is a perfect golf course for Hideki. He's definitely on the phone with Rio and his crew because they're best boys. We know, like how to win here.
I mean, purely just looking at the number and going, why is Deki 40 in this small of a field? I think that jumps out because then after that, we're kind of into Jokester land. Like, I won't put Fitz in Jokester land because
I would.
I mean, in his current form, 100% I would. He's still a major champion, so I can't put... It's only because I'm about to list off the rest of the Jokers, and it would be slightly disrespectful to him. But, like, we've got Bez, Straka, Ben On, Day, Carlos, Dietrich, Minwoo, Abe Answer. Like, can't picture any of those guys winning a gold medal. Can you?
No, but I don't think you can blame Fitz. Like, you get engaged to a hot blonde, you forget about your golf. Like, it's all good. You do your thing, Fitz. But down the board, I think it's a perfect golf course for Abe Answer. Not sure how high his upside is, but I think Abe Answer, like, he could T3. He can get that bronze. I wouldn't be that. What's his betting number?
On Carlos?
No, Abe Answer.
Oh, Abe? 110-1.
That's a crazy number. And also, Minwoo. I don't think it doesn't scream Minwoo, but if we're thinking PGA National, TPC Sawgrass, you could bomb it and get hot with those wedges.
He lost 8 strokes off the tee here last year.
8?
And it finished T64.
But I don't. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But Minwoo played so well at Sawgrass and PJ Nash, and
Yeah,
that's a great.
he's
That's the
if
only thing, though. Only thing.
yeah, I'll say it's not. I'm sticking to not a links course on Minwoo, but your point is we just talked about at the beginning that it's not about approach play; it's about dog approach play, and Minwoo's shown the dog approach play in those Florida
Yeah,
events. And I think like
we have that stat.
if you want to check a guy's strokes gained dog approach rankings, go check it out by looking at their Florida like golf approach numbers because that's kind of as you said Sawgrass, but I think yeah Honda and those things as well. We'll finish off here, getting into the triple digits, getting into random Euro of the Week territory because there's a lot of random Euro of the Week opportunities here in the triple digits. Guido's one here. Stevie Yaggs is 175 to 1. Pabs is 80 to 1. Wyndy C's 80 to 1. He's got no chance, right? Wyndy C?
No, as in no. What's his number?
80.
No. No chance. Zero chance.
Fox's triple D's. Big Dick Vic Perez on home soils, triple D's. Thor Olesen, Mateo Monasteros 175 to 1. Sammy Valimaki's 250 to 1. Your
Actually,
boy Sharma. Who do you like
with Wyndham? I can see him playing well as a loose term, only because he's getting shit on so much, and it's undeserving. He does not deserve the shit that he's getting from like just golf media and like
for being on the
team. He didn't choose to be on the team. He played well enough to earn his spot on the team. The rules are the rules. So I can see Win and like dog, like he has that. So I'm not saying Wyndham's going to win. I don't even think that outright number is a good bet, but I could see him playing above your expectations. Okay, random Southern Asian of the week, Shubh Sharma. I think is a amazing bet. He's played well here in his career. Is making infinity cuts in a row. And what does he do well? Great on approach, great putting. If you're listening to 51 minutes into this pod, Bet365 has top Indian market minus 200. Shubh Sharma over the last price guy on the odds board.
Nuke. It's literally like
I hammered it this morning. And I really don't see how that loses. He's playing great too.
Yeah, I'm just looking, and all he's doing is absolutely fucking on approaching with his putter, which is exactly what we want.
Yeah. The Shubs can finish T20 here.
I will join you on random plays the Euro Tour, but it's actually from India of the week on Shubh Sharma. And yeah, he's up against the guy who's last on the odds board, Gaganjeet Bhullar, who, first of all, shout out to him for being in the Olympics. He's 36 years old. I'm sure this is a highlight of his career. So good for him.
Beef. Like
he did win the Nissan Presents the Chandigarh Open on April 6th.
They don't just give those out though.
They don't. He did also win the Tata Steel Tour Championship right around Christmas time. So maybe he pops for a round, but yeah, over 72 holes, he's not beating Shubh Sharms. Tapio Polkinen is 700 to 1. Shout out to Tapio for being in. Shout out to he's been playing good on the Challenge Tour. My random Euro of the week is going to be Polkinen because every now and then Polkinen can get it going. And 700 to 1, there's only 60 guys in the field. He could get on the medal stand.
Sammy could be first round leader. Sammy loves to shoot 63 and like a random round.
I was about to check what Sammy's course history was at this event.
I don't think it's great. I really
played once T20. He absolutely dominated on the greens.
But yes, all putting. See that.
We saw.
You know who's got crazy course history that we didn't mention? Mateo Manacero. His first 5, he made the cut here. His last 4, he missed the cut here. But the last 4 years, he's been like injuries and not. But now he's back. He's back to his old self. He's really fucking again. So I think random Italian of the week, he could play well.
What I was gonna say was, I mean, it was a different field last time. Like, I think this field's better overall. But the medal stand last time was Xander, who at the time was no dog whatsoever.
Right.
Rory Sabatini and CT Pond.
Is that why you were on that hat?
Actually, yes. That it wasn't, but there's 2 dogs in the field, Nick Taylor and CT Pond. Only 60 people in the entire field of the Olympics, and 2 of them are from the great University of Washington.
Tweet that after the pod.
So shout out to the dogs. We've always been good at Olympic sports like rowing. All the different, we're really good at them. So it makes
Everyone
sense
that
we'd be in the Olympics. So that's awesome to see. But what I was going to say was, in general, I know it's tough to think of a world where one of these top guys doesn't win. But I'm sure there's markets this week that wouldn't normally exist, the podium markets. where are you looking, and do you think it makes sense to just nuke some guys down the board for an upset top 3 finish, especially at Le Golf National, where like random shit can happen all the time and there's water everywhere? And
you want to hear a lock?
Yes.
A lock. You're gonna like this one. You're gonna like this one. Victor Perez top 40 minus 400. He's not losing. I'm in the syndicate game. Like those are the bets that I make, and you know it.
Right. You're like the Rufus guy now. You just nuke you take the juice and nuke it when you're on the right side.
When it makes sense. Yeah, I love that. And also Victor Perez, low Frenchman, but the odds aren't good enough. I think they're only plus 100. I would buy it at plus 130.
I won't join you on that. I feel good about Paps.
I don't like the score spread. We should do side bet there.
All right, that makes sense. The last guy that I'm going to bring up, who just jumped out to me, is a guy who could have a medal around his neck this weekend. No, Sepp could. He's coming off of a relatively strong performance.
He looks like a medalist guy. He looks like someone who wrote a medal.
So I 100% agree on the look of Sepp. But Emiliano Grillo, he was T43 at the Open. He flew all the way back to the 3M and finished T24. He'd been striping his irons, but that was the only thing that he didn't stripe at the 3M. He lost on approach and he gained everywhere else. He hasn't played good here, but he does have 4 French Open appearances. 3 of them are missed cuts, but at least Grillo has played the course before. He was T23 and the only other one. Guy who I could put a podium bet on. He's 200-1 to win the tournament. I'm sure his odds for podium are pretty high. The Argentine. He's here with his boy Toasty. That's an elite combination.
He's minus 175 top Argentine.
Toasty completely fucked to me last week. He was terrible.
He's been so bad. I mean, because Toasty can just drive greens on his
Toasty's stats last week. He missed the cut. He lost 6.5 off the tee and 6.5 on approach.
How is it even possible?
He shot 78 and 77 in 2 straight rounds at the 3M. Alejandro Tosti, that his is 1,000% not under consideration for a spot on Torquay. Could Vegas be under consideration for taking Mito's spot on Torquay? Because Mito's been an absolute disgrace lately, and I bet him last week. I tried to give him a shot.
Disgrace.
Not good.
Also, we didn't mention him, but I'm sure I want to hear your thoughts. Corey Connors. Couldn't make more sense for Corey Connors.
So my take was going to be, when we were talking about that range of the board on Corey, was that betting Corey at 35.
I didn't know those were his odds. Okay. That's why.
Because he's 35 with Noren, Tom, Kim, and Vic. And I think I'd rather have Vic, Tom, Kim, and maybe Noren over Connors.
No, Noren's the worst bet on the board.
Why do you not like Alex?
Because he's got great course history. And it makes so much sense. And he's always overpriced. And he won the French Open. Like, this is not the French Open field.
Fair. I don't think he's a good bet, but I don't think Connors is a good bet either. Even though it does make sense.
I didn't know Connors was 35. I agree.
Even though it does make sense for Connors, I just think that price, especially with the putting, maybe he has been putting better, but I'll see Corey in the medal conversation though, for sure. But if I was actually going to bet at the 35 number, I'd probably go Vic and TK over Noren and Connors if I was betting.
Corey Connors' link season update. He ended up gaining 5 strokes to the field at Troon, and Saturday alone, he lost 7. That is one of the most impressive stat lines I've ever seen. 7 on Saturday, he lost, and he still gained 5.
Yeah, what did he do on
It's a bad beat.
Yeah, he's flushing his irons. But what I was quite last guy for real this time. TK's 35-1. TK
first time leader here last year.
TK has been most tipped 2 straight tournaments when it made absolutely no, like, I think he was most tipped at both the Scottish and the Open, which made literally 0 sense at all. But he actually did play here last year.
First round leader.
Yeah, he got experience. He putted great. The other things weren't good. He's playing so well lately. We know he can at least go toe-to-toe with Scottie. He's not afraid of it. He came close at Travie. 35 on Tom is a very reasonable number. People were betting him in the 20s at the Scottish Open.
Dude, I mean, that makes so much sense. I'm down. I think I gotta peep the without Scottie market because I'm pretty serious about that. But there's a few guys in that 30 range that you mentioned that I didn't realize were that low. So a Vic TK card with maybe one more guy, because I mean anyone can finish runner up in this field. So I'm down.
Yeah. Cheers. Like I said, I'm excited for this event. We'll see. Obviously, get over to the site tomorrow. We'll have the normal stuff that we have up on the site, like any other event. I'm leaning. If I go to the top of the board, it's probably going to be Colin. I don't think I'm going to go to the top of the board, but if it did, just because I've been thinking about Colin here the whole time, and maybe I could do a Colin Vic or a Colin TK plus like a couple guys down the board type of card. I guess from a strategic standpoint, you sound like you're leaning towards the without Scottie. I think I'm just going to take him on head on this week. But overall, I'm sure there's people thinking like, should I be excited for the Olympics? Like,
hell yeah,
like 1000% get excited. And it's not a major, but like I said, this is better than Valhalla. This is better than the PGA.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is sick, and we only get it once every 4 years. And I genuinely think 20 years down the road, we're going to look at guys with gold medals as like a really, really big positive for your career. So let's enjoy it now so that we don't have to look back in 20 years and go, oh, man, I wish I would have enjoyed the Olympics when I had the chance.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fun week. I'm excited to not sleep again. So let's do it.
All right, Drews, good stuff. I'll talk to you next week.
Peace out. Great show.